to stay on time with this presentation, I've decided to make a video instead of a PowerPoint and just let myself do the explaining. For those of you who are in my English class, you might remember that I'm ripping off zero punctuation. Again, because creativity makes my brain hurt. But let's stop killing time and start this already, shall we? I'm sure some of what I say here will have probably already been said by the person who presented before me, but I'm here to talk about the mechanics of a controller. Well, I guess that's a little broad. I'm here to explain how to effectively use a controller, i.e., which parts of a controller are best suited for certain jobs. But before I talk about the mechanics of a controller, I should probably just go back over the components of a controller first. Sorry to those of you who already know this or have already heard this. So here we have a controller. Let's just start with the ports on the back. The competition port is where you plug the competition switch in. At tournaments, there will be a tower with a black competition switch on it, and it has a cable coming out that you plug into your main controller. The second port, labeled partner, is where you plug in the coiled black partner cable in order to use two controllers on one robot. You also plug it in to your partner's controller via the partner port. As for the programming port, you can plug in the programming hardware kit to help expedite the coding and testing process. This keeps you from having to constantly compile and download code to your Cortex when making a bunch of minor changes. Now to the components in the front. Each controller has bumpers, buttons, and joysticks. The joysticks are best used for driving your robot. They are designed to go in any direction, making for easy handling when it comes to driving. Buttons are the best suited for extending and retracting, raising and lowering, or starting and stopping parts of a robot. Buttons are better for toggling positions of robot parts rather than anything that requires a constantly moving multi-directional piece like a drivetrain. Finally, there are bumpers, which are best suited for any constantly moving system of a robot that does not involve a drivetrain, as competition fields are too small for a robot to only be able to move forward and still maneuver more effectively than a robot operated by joysticks. Finally, there is a matter of partner controllers, which is having two people with two controllers hooked up with a partner cable to operate one robot. If your robot has two complicated functions that require timing that can be operated independently from each other, then two controllers will work better. But in more simple designs, or in competition when you need to be quick, then having two operators can slow down the actions of your robot if they cannot decide the right course of action. Well, I think that's all. And while you can certainly find other uses for parts of a controller, like using the buttons to drive, the rest of the people on your team will probably think you need to go to the hospital. Alright. Questions?